Well, good morning. Today we're here with Denise Pitot from Members Business Network Mauritius, more commonly referred to as MBN. So Members Business Network has been one of the only referral business networks in Mauritius for almost the past 3 years.
That's right.
Can you tell us a little bit, Denise, about MBN and what it is that you do?
Oh, well, thanks very much, Candice, for asking. Sure, my husband and I arrived on the island 3.5 years ago. And in South Africa, I've always belonged to a networking organization of some sort. I've been doing it in South Africa for over 12 years. So coming to the island and not knowing anybody except family was quite daunting, you know, being surrounded by friends, business friends in these network organizations, and then suddenly not having that. And so we created Members Business Network to do exactly that, to be a group of business friends that we can lean on, and that's what we are. We're an organization of members. We come together to support one another, to uplift one another, to help one another, and just generally help each other grow in business.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. So basically it was your move to Mauritius that really triggered you starting the network.
100%. When you land here and you know nobody, besides family, obviously, and not wanting to rely on family, you need to make a plan. And if you can find a group, and of course networks happen all over the place, through religious organizations, through schools, but having a business network really helps you in business.
Exactly.
So that's how it was founded, yeah.
Brilliant. So who would you say your business role model is? Is there someone that you particularly look up to in the business world?
You know, I think my parents were entrepreneurs for all of my life, and I'd have to say that I mold my business very much on them and the way that they managed their business. They were in a service industry, in hospitality, and so the customer focus has always been right up there for me. So I would say that they would be the first people that I have molded my business on how they ran their business. And then, of course, my husband as well. He also very customer focused, but he's got a different way of looking at things. And so he adds a really good balance to how we run Members Business Network.
Oh, yeah. Wonderful. That's really sweet. So coming into Mauritius as an English-speaking South African, would you say that you've faced any specific challenges? Was it difficult? How did you overcome things?
I think that's a great question, because I was sure that I was going to encounter more challenges. But I think a lot of it has to do with your interpretation, the way that you present yourself. Yes. And before coming here, I remember I studied Duolingo to get my French up. You know, I did that for a couple of years, actually, in preparation of coming here. And then when I got here, like, nobody speaks to me in French. Maybe it's my French is so bad. But I do try, and I've tried a little Creole. And I think that when your attitude is right, people present a better attitude back to you. You know, yes. I really think it just they mirror your attitude. So I haven't encountered any challenges at all in terms of language, even in terms of adjusting to a different culture. I haven't experienced any challenges at all like that. Even having spoken to some of my friends who have had challenges, I cannot agree with that at all. I've just found that the people here in Mauritius have been welcoming. Yes. They've been supportive. They've been helpful. They've been encouraging. It's been an amazing journey. Not an easy journey.
Absolutely.
Because I think coming into any other culture, any other country is going to be challenging. But I haven't had any of the challenges that I expected.
Well, that's really great. And I'm just glad to hear that moving to Mauritius has just been such a positive experience for you and something that can be recommended to people.
Absolutely,
so,
it has.
over the last year and a bit, obviously with COVID, it's been a particularly difficult year for a lot of small businesses, a lot of big businesses even, and a large number of businesses haven't survived. What have you done differently in your business over the past year to ensure its resilience?
Candace, I think we were really fortunate because literally the month before we went into our first lockdown, we tested out our Zoom online networking, and it was something that I'd resisted so much. Both my husband and a friend of mine had said, you need to look at this online networking. And I was like, no, I like people. I want to deal with people. I like the face-to-face. But I knew that it was something that had to be on the cards. So the year before, I said, okay, January, I'm going to do my first online networking. And obviously January, we don't have any network meetings. So yes. February, we had our first Zoom meeting. And it was great. It was really good. And then March, we went into lockdown.
Wow.
So we literally could just carry on with Zoom networking, which was fantastic. So it meant that during our first lockdown, we could still meet, we could still grow our relationships with one another, it was fantastic. And it really helped to save the business. And I would like to think that it's helped to save a lot of smaller businesses as well, because it gave us a reason to get dressed, to put makeup on if we wear makeup, and to just make sure that we show up. We had meetings. We could carry on some semblance of work-related activities that made us feel productive. And if we were doing it properly, well, then we were passing referrals to one another. We were helping to uplift one another and create a positive space for each other. So that was really, really good. And in fact, we grew 150%. So our business more than doubled through lockdown. It was just the right time. We needed each other, and we were a space to come together as a community, as a family, to grow in business. So I suppose this second lockdown has been very different. People have been there. The business confidence is low. I think people are, they needed more. I think a lot of businesses really struggled to survive the second lockdown. And I'm hoping that now, as we come back to face-to-face networking again, I'm hoping that we can be there for one another and make sure that those businesses that have really struggled can grow again and survive. But it has been a very different lockdown. But yes, Zoom networking worked.
Brilliant.
So that was fantastic for us.
And I love that it's been a positive experience and something just for people to get dressed for. Like you say, sometimes when you're in an extended lockdown, you just need that little thing, that little date, that little appointment to get ready for and to make yourself look presentable.
100%.
And remind you why you started your business in the first place.
Exactly. And in every situation, we've got two choices. The one is to be positive and the other is to be negative. So we could just mope and we could feel sorry for ourselves, or we could do something about it. And I'm pleased to say that the members in MBN have just come together and done something about it and grown because they're there for each other.
Very encouraging. Thanks, Denise. So what would you say is the predominant way that you market your business?
Oh my goodness, has to be Facebook. Facebook. That is the predominant way of marketing. We obviously, our network meetings in themselves are a way of marketing the business.
Exactly.
And so they are critical. They're part of the growth of our business is the network meetings. But apart from that, I would say it's the social media, mostly Facebook, because that seems to be the predominant way of communicating on social media in Mauritius. But we've started doing more Instagram and we've started doing more LinkedIn just recently. But yes, at the moment it's Facebook.
So definitely online.
Online, definite.
That's great. So how socially conscious would you say you are? In other words, are there any regular sustainability practices that you have put into place in the day-to-day running of your business?
Yeah, so I think, as a small business, we're constantly striving to be more economical, looking at how we do things. We do a lot of online. Most of our communication is via email or through social media. So we've got a lot less printing. Even our membership cards are electronic. We're also looking at creating a new mobile app. So a lot of the communication will happen through that. So I think, that those are the kind of things that we're doing, along with carpooling to meetings. I think it's just I think it's also a conscious decision that we make as individuals. So it's the little things that we do, like reducing the amount of meat that we're eating, or I suppose maybe even my daughter and I walking to buy our pastries on a Sunday instead of taking the car.
Absolutely.
They're just little things that we do in our day-to-day life that I suppose do make you socially responsible, even though you're not thinking about that stuff.
Being an entrepreneur can be quite a lonely journey for a lot of people. As the founder of MBN Mauritius, you must have dealt with a lot of small businesses, a lot of SMEs. Have you found, in your experience, that it's been beneficial to these companies being part of a network or a greater group of people?
Oh my goodness, yes, 100% it does. If you just wake up every morning and you go to your office and you're getting your job done and you're not interacting with anybody, it's an incredibly lonely place. And even if you have staff, there's not things that you can discuss with all your staff members, so just being the leader of a business is a lonely place. And if you know that there's a group of like-minded individuals that you can connect with, that you can just rub shoulders with, maybe bounce an idea off, that makes a huge difference to an entrepreneur, makes a huge difference to any business owner. And you'll find people who have similar experiences within that network that you can bounce ideas off or rub shoulders with, like I say, just to get their perspective. And it does help. It does make you feel like you're not alone in business.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think even businesses that might be generally seen as a competitor, you can actually learn from the people who are doing the same thing as you, and they can learn from you. So
Yes.
Definitely very, very beneficial. So what advice would you say you've got for other business owners, and particularly small business owners, or those just starting their entrepreneur journey?
I guess my advice would be to find something that you feel passionate about, something that you believe in, something that you love doing. Because if you wake up in the morning and it's the first thing that you've got to do and it's the last thing you do before you go to bed, you need to love what you're doing. So my advice would be to find something that you really feel passionate about, something that you can sink your teeth into. And then don't expect to have results immediately. It takes time. And coming here to Mauritius, I could say it took us definitely 2 years to get the business off the ground. It didn't happen overnight. And if you stay positive because you believe in it, then it doesn't matter that it's taking a little bit longer than you expected it to initially, because you love it. So that would be my advice. Find something that you love doing, that you can do all day and feel good about and thoroughly enjoy, and sink those teeth into it and go for it and believe in it wholeheartedly and just keep at it, because it will pay dividends.
Oh, I love your positivity, Denise. Thank you so much. I think that's some great advice. So just the one last question. What would you say your business mantra or your favorite quote is? Something that you can share with us as a lasting thought.
I take a lot of Bob Berg's quotes and use them at the network meetings, but probably this one. And that is that all things being equal, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. And I think it just stands for what we do at MBN Mauritius. We get to know one another, we get to like one another, and then we learn to trust each other. And when you trust each other, that's when the magic happens, because that's when referrals are passed. Because referrals are not going to be passed between people who just know each other. They're not even necessarily going to be passed between people who like each other. But when you trust each other and you know that you can trust the other person with your best contact, with your best client, that's when business happens. That's when the referrals happen. That's when our business grows. So that would be my quote. And of course, you're not going to build trust between each other if you don't do what you say. So if you say you're going to do something, you do it.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Thanks for all your insights and for telling us a little bit more about MBN, and just for your positivity. It has been great talking to you.
Thanks.
And have a great day.
Thanks, Candace.